Okay, and there's a lot of different ideas about injuries and arm wrestling. You're gonna get injuries wherever it is. It's part of any sport. Any sport you do to a high level, you're gonna get injuries. Tendinitis, whatever, that's a common one. And when I say injuries, I'm not talking about breaking your arm or, you know, something that requires surgery. You know, I'm not talking about where you actually, you know, ruptured your tendon or blew a tendon off a bone or, like, you know, blew a ligament completely. I'm talking about, you know, basically being something past sore, you know, something that takes, like, you know, 5 or 6 weeks. Like, you know, I hurt myself in a match. There's nothing obvious, nothing went purple, you know, nothing's like visibly torn or broken, but it's something bad happened, you know. And for me, that doesn't keep me off the table. That does not keep me outside the gym. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I've got this injury, and I just want to let it heal." To me, is the worst thing you can do. To me, what I think is, you never want to stop getting into the gym. You never want to stop going to the club and training. Reasons why, okay. The big reason for why you don't want to stop going to the club is you will become a better arm wrestler training through injury. The big thing is you need to let your guys know that you're injured, okay? The club, you have to have a great club environment. You need to have dudes who you can talk to and you say, "Hey man, I'm hurt real bad in this spot. I'll show you exactly where I'm hurt. You got to take care of me." And hopefully your guys are cool enough that they will do that. And what it's going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to diversify. I believe you become a great arm wrestler through injury. In 1998, I was a relatively new arm wrestler. I was an arm wrestler who had really just found that really, really strong spot known as the press. You know what I mean? You know, I'd been arm wrestling competitively for, you know, about 5 years, and if the match stopped, I knew if I turned like this, there was a whole lot of pressure coming. And I'd been thinking about this guy, Earl Wilson. He's a great Canadian arm wrestler. I was thinking about him, I'm going to beat this guy. Beat this guy at the Mike Duke Classic. And I did beat him. We hit in. I planned the match. I'd arm wrestled him 1,000 times in my mind before I had stepped up to the table that day. And I hit out, and I came inside, and I committed. And I buried him. I buried his arm. But Earl Wilson is a gorilla. And in the process of me burying his arm, he seriously stretched out some stuff in there. Like I was done for the rest of the tournament, basically. I got my win, and there was no sound, and nothing broke, but something got stretched to a point where if I took my finger and touched here, it was ridiculous pain. Like, it was not happening. Like, there was no supination ability. There was no side pressure in my game. Nothing. Because when I hit my press, right, instead of being here and being all in line, I was probably about here. And I just forced that thing in there, you know. It was great, but, you know, in that process I got an injury. So what I did was I just kept on training. I kept on pulling. And what I did was for 1.5 years I top rolled. And I only top. And at that point I really didn't know how to top roll very well. Outside pulling. Because that's all I could do. That's all I was able to do. And if I had not received that injury, who knows, maybe I wouldn't have top rolled for several years after that. Anyways, the injury came back. You know, 1.5 years later, my hook came back, and my side pressure was great, and there was no issues. But over the course of that period, I've added a huge, you know, balance piece to my game. And every time I've gotten injured, I've still arm wrestled. After my surgery, I was on the table. You know, I think it was 3 days after. Actually, it was the next day. I was on the table arm wrestling. But I told my guys, I'm like, listen, like you can't do anything to me. Like, I just had surgery. Like, all I want you to do is just touch my hand. And I'm like, it's all I can do right now. That's all I can do. Just hold hands with me. And, you know. But I knew that doing nothing was not the right choice. You know. Golden rule of arm wrestling: don't ever stop. Don't stop, and don't get injured. Those two things. I failed, but you know, I'm keeping on working at it. So you know, and through that process, they were cool with me. Nobody hurt me anymore, and they let me kind of slowly work back into it. If I had just said I'll be back in 3 or 4 weeks, you know, or 2 months or 3 months or whatever, you know, all that stuff that I in between there wouldn't have happened. You know? Now, there's always something you can do. Anyways, that's kind of how I feel about injuries and pulling. Let me see, what else want to touch on? The thumb, right. I forgot about this part. Outside arm wrestling. I want to show you guys just a very simple little trick, okay, about table setups. And maybe I'll show you a few other little tricks while our food's still digesting. So, you want the guy to come to you, right? You want to be chased outside arm wrestling. So much of it, and this goes for inside arm wrestling too. It's what target you're presenting, okay? What are they going to bite on, okay? And it's about the thumb, okay? The thumb, you have to be able to see the thumb knuckle. This is the problem, right? This is the problem. Like if I wanted to arm wrestle you, I would love to be all up here, but the rule says that you need to see that stupid thumb knuckle. So this is the big issue, right? So the way you can really screw guys around in the setup is where you put your thumb. Okay? Whenever you're arm wrestling and you're presenting something for the person to grab, right? You want to have your thumb as open as possible, right? I don't ever want to be grabbing somebody or gripping around with a low thumb. Okay? Because what it means is their fingers can come over really nice and high and they can get really far around my hand and in a dangerous spot. I don't want somebody up around the top of my hand. I don't want them there. I want them down lower, chase them down lower so I can start to get into their fingers, right? But if I have my hand high, my thumb high, then there's no way they're going to be able to get anything here, so they grab lower down, okay? Always have your thumb high up, okay? Whenever you're gripping up. Come on up and you'll feel it, right? Like here, I got a thumb low, okay? Just take grip, okay? Probably feels real comfortable, right? Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of energy into keeping my thumb high. Right, take a grip. You probably right away you're like, I don't even really, it doesn't feel anywhere near as good, right? Right, and that was very easy, right? Just by having my thumb high. Now in this process, there's trump cards for him, right? So what he wants to do, if he's going to decide to grab me, he's going to want to get as far around me as possible, right? Right. So if you, right, he's going to lift his elbow up. And he can even come right around, right? Like if you hold your thumb up, right, nice and high up. If I want to trump this, okay, I can be like, right, I'm gonna, you know, do like this kind of thing. All right, come right around, set it, and then bring it back. Okay. But if he's smart, what he's gonna do is he's gonna hide his hand. Okay. Right. So do it to me now. I'm gonna hide my hand so he can't get as far around you. Right. So as he comes in, okay. Right, you can't get as far around, right, and then I'm good again, right, so always, as he's approaching, okay, hide your hand, right, as soon as he starts to come, I'll do it to you, right, I'm going to grab you, right, keep your hand nice and high, right, now as I come in, see your palm slightly, no, that's it, right, and pull up into my fingers, there you go, right, that probably feels dynamite right there if you close it, yeah, right, dynamite, right, yeah, you're way out there, right, so you always want to hide your thumb and not let them get as far around you, right? So just as they're coming in, just a little. And guys are going to get frustrated. Guys are going to be like, you know, so everything needs to be subtle and needs to be small because an advantage that's big is never going to fly. Any great referee is going to be like, this is just crazy, and he's going to throw you in a ref script or you're going to get a warning. You know, if it's subtle, you know, there's a better chance that your opponent's going to bite off on it, and there's a better chance that the referee's going to let it fly. Yeah, but when you practice it, you can practice, you know, the big pieces and then work on shrinking. Cover a few more things. I'll cover maybe strap work. Okay. I don't know. You guys have probably seen the video that I've done on straps. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll add a bit to it. The strap is really, in my opinion, what real arm wrestling is. You're gonna end up in the strap in most matches that guys feel uncomfortable. Most guys who start to not feel right, most of the time, one guy's gonna pull out. Very hard call for a referee to make, intentional slip fouls. Most leagues are kind of just moving away from the whole thing and just saying, all slips go to straps. That's happening in a lot of leagues, and I can see even eventually WAF may move there in a decade or something. Who knows?